Good evening, everyone. My name is Jennifer Guyton, and I am with the Citizens to Save Hazelwood and Fire Services. I'm going to talk today about this situation that's been going on between Hazelwood and Robertson. What we've learned, our group has done a 6-month investigation looking into this issue and how we can fix it. There's a lot to go through here. Just to give you a heads up, some of this is stuff you may have seen on our website. If you follow us on our website, some of this is stuff you probably know, but there's a lot of new information here that no one has really seen. So hang in there and let's get started. So Citizens to Save Hazelwood and Fire Services. Basically, we are a nonprofit group consisting of mostly Robertson Fire Protection District residents, but we're open to all residents of Hazelwood. And I think we're going to start expanding into Bridgeton as well. We were formed June 1st after the city of Hazelwood and Robertson Fire Protection District attempted to pass tax increases in 2019, 2020, and 2021. Our mission basically is to pursue reasonable solutions to the city's budget to minimize the tax burden on the residents. Now, real quick, I moved here about 5 years ago. So I walked into this personally, not knowing the situation. I didn't have any particular affinity for the city or for the Robertson Fire Protection District. So, I kind of brought an objective view when looking at the situation. So why are we here today? First, like I said, we want to share what we've learned over the last few months. We learned all this from talking to residents, business owners, experts. We also spoke to both the officials of Hazelwood as well as the Robertson Fire Protection District. We researched TIFs, tax abatements, tax rates, the business of fire in general. We did some data analysis and we have quite a bit of open records that we'd love to share with you. And also at the end of this, we're going to talk about what we can do and how we can fix this. So first, let's play fact or fiction. Fact or fiction. The city of Hazelwood is currently not paying Robertson for their services. I see this a lot on Nextdoor. I see this on Facebook. This is false. Hazelwood is paying Robertson. The only year that they didn't pay was 2018, and recently that was settled and Robertson was paid for the year of 2018. So number two, is Hazelwood actually going bankrupt? The answer is true. Yes, unfortunately, the city is heading towards insolvency. If the city goes bankrupt, I'll become part of unincorporated St. Louis County. I hear this all the time. People want chickens in their backyard. They're like, let's do it. Let's go bankrupt. But no, sorry, this is also fiction. You will just be in a bankrupt town. And also the final one here, I'm not paying for Robertson's service. Hazelwood is. They're paying their contract. Well, this is false because Hazelwood is paying Robertson with your tax data. So you are 100% paying Robertson for their service. Everybody is. So what have we learned talking to residents and business owners? Well, the first thing we learned is everybody loves their firefighters. It doesn't matter if you're from Florissant Valley, if you're from Hazelwood Fire Department, Robertson Fire Protection District. We love you all. You all do a great job. We love you. That being said, this whole situation has nothing to do with the firefighters. This is a dispute between the city and the Robertson Fire Protection District Board and the administration. What else did we learn? We learned that the city is basically broken down into two arguments about why the city has a budget crisis. The first argument is Hazelwood gave TIFs resulting in budget shortfalls. The other half feel that Robertson Fire Protection District sold tax rate increases to taxpayers as a no cost increase. So basically everybody wants to know who's to blame. All right, let's talk about the elephant in the room. The argument number one, Hazelwood giving TIFs, which resulted in budget shortfalls. Well, Hazelwood residents are not happy about the TIFs, okay? Maybe it was a necessary evil to bring business in, but did Hazelwood have to be number one in the county? It's very difficult for people to see what they felt as millions given away in tax abatements. And then Hazelwood turn around and say, well, we can't give our employees raises, and now we're going bankrupt. Now, this isn't necessarily connected, but it really rubbed residents the wrong way, and they want you to know that. But for those of you who are angry about the TIFs, there's great news. There are TIFs really are just not a thing anymore. From my understanding, I believe there haven't been any new TIFs since 2008. In fact, the Mills Mall TIF just ended in December of 2021. And Senate Bill 870 means that Robertson is no longer included in any new tax abatements. So they are getting their money since 2018 from any new business that has been brought to Hazelwood. Tax abatements still do occur. We still do need them to bring business, but there are way more contingencies. There's penalties, they create jobs, and they do generate revenue through permits and licensing. But are the TIFs to blame for the budget crisis? The answer is no, and you'll understand as we go. All right, the second argument, Robertson Fire Protection District sold tax rate increases to taxpayers as no cost. Well, let's see what happened since the signing of the 1995 contract. There have been 5 tax rate increases passed. We talked to resident after resident after resident who told us that they were told that they would not have to pay this. They were told that this was a no cost. The board of directors, by the way, can drop this tax rate anytime, and you can see here how it's kind of gone up over the years. All right, so today, the current tax rate is $2.41, which makes it the 5th highest. You can see here in this animation on the side. The commercial tax rate is $2.47, the 4th highest in St. Louis County, and their tax rate is the highest in the area. Tax rates, for those of you who don't know, are based on the economic status of the area, so the property values that kind of determines what you set it at. So Robertson is taxing their district as if they are located in the 4th or 5th poorest area in St. Louis County. I don't know about you, but I don't feel that way. I don't feel like I'm living in the 4th or 5th poorest area in the county. They did recently roll back the residential and commercial tax rate. You'll probably hear them say that, about 15 cents, but it's because they legally had to due to the Hancock law. And if you hear them say that it was voluntarily rolled back, it was not. The only tax with the agricultural tax rate that was rolled back by 7 cents. So that one only, but they did roll it back recently due to the Hancock law. So how is Hazelwood going bankrupt? So you've got your $100,000 home here. Okay. So $100,000 home in Hazelwood with their I think it's 92 cents now. Their tax rate, pays $175 in real estate taxes, city of Hazelwood. Well, with Robertson's $2.41 tax, Hazelwood has to turn around and pay them $458 in contract fees. Well, say you got a business valued at $1 million. Well, they're going to pay the city of Hazelwood $3,000 in real estate tax. And then Hazelwood's going to turn around and pay Robertson almost $8,000. So this is just one house and one home. And you can see how this is a $5,000 loss for the city. Now, this spirals quite quickly. It adds up fast. So remember, like I said, the Mills Mall, that TIF ended in December of 2021. So the city of Hazelwood, so the Mills Mall, or the city of Hazelwood, was going to receive about $300,000 more estimated in 2022 in tax revenue from the Mills Mall. But they're going to owe Robertson about $800,000 more in contract fees. So this is all together a net loss of $500,000. So you can see how this is causing a giant hole in the city's budget and how this is just unsustainable. So where is Hazelwood getting all this money? Because people are like, oh, well, it's only one section of the district, but the money is being diverted from Hazelwood to Robertson through your police department, your fire department, Parks and Rec, Public Works. All of these people, the budgets have been cut. These employees are underpaid. Many of them are leaving. Your sales tax. We have one of the highest sales taxes in St. Louis County. That's to help pay for Robertson. all of your services that have been cut, your leaf pickup, the rec center, limited park maintenance and rentals, the fireworks, the snow plowing. I couldn't have timed that better myself. That, they're doing great out there tonight, but they're short staffed because we can't afford more snow plows. Hazelwood needs all this extra money to pay Robertson. So I know some people are saying, but is Hazelwood really going bankrupt? Yes. This payment structure with Robertson is the main and possibly only factor that is causing the budget crisis. So I hear this all the time, and there are people at home I know that are saying, so what? They signed a contract. They should pay. And maybe if Robertson, what they're charging, if it's reasonable, and if it's justified, maybe they should just pay. There is a contract. So we wanted to ask the question, does Robertson spending, how does it compare to other fire districts? Maybe they do need the extra money. And where exactly is all this money going? So just real quick, for those of you, many people don't understand a fire district compared to a fire department. Fire departments ran by the city council. A fire district is ran by a board of directors. You've got your current president, that's Joan Knoll. You've got Mike Connolly, he's your secretary, and Becky Ryan-Smith, your treasurer. They are residents, voted in by residents to watch over your money and protect your money. They have control over the budget. They approve purchases, sales. They control the tax rate. They take a fiduciary duty to protect your money. Then below them, you have your administrative staff. You've got the fire chief. And so our current fire chief is Chief Maynard Howell. You then also have the former fire chief, which is Chief Don Miner. He was here from 2013 to 2020, and Chief Tilley. He was here from 1998 to 2013. Underneath the fire chief, you would then also have your medical officer, assistant chief, and your fire marshal. They basically, they take care of budgets, personnel coordination, investigations in a fire, inspections. They deal with health issues like COVID. They also do sunshine requests and record keeping. So we wanted to look at the different spending things that Robertson is doing compared to everybody else. So we looked at a few things. We looked at cost per call. So how much are they spending to make a phone call and respond to an emergency call? We looked at what their spending was on different utilities. And we also looked at equipment turnover. Now, we also looked at benefits and finances, but we just do not have time to get through that tonight. So we're going to go ahead and just kind of skip that. We sent Hazelwood, Florissant Valley, as well as Robertson and 23 other career fire protection districts many of these same requests to do this analysis here. So what about the cost per call? So fire districts are in the business of calls. The more calls equals more supplies, more label, more equipment. This is a great metric for understanding the spending behavior of a district. So you have the operating cost per call, which is their total expenses, divided by their total number of calls. Your operating cost is basically your everyday today spending. You also have cost per call, which is your total expenditures. Now, this includes your capital assets and your debt, and you divide that by the total number of calls. We looked at 5 years of audit data, and we looked at 5 years of call data to do this analysis. So what did we find? So we found that Robertson has the highest cost per call, operating cost per call. The average operating cost per call is about $2,000. Robertson is $3,700. That means that Robertson, it costs about $1,700 more than your average fire protection district to respond to emergency call. And when you look at cost per call, it's about the same. $2,000 is the average, and Robertson is $3,600. So again, about $1,400 more to respond to an emergency. So based on this analysis, Robertson Fire Protection District is the most expensive fire district in St. Louis County. This spending is so obvious, you can see it on a map. Well, we wondered though, what if they're just really busy? What if they're so busy that they're spending more money, they're just running through supplies, even though it should be evened out with all the calls? We still just wanted to look into how busy they were. So we took the average calls per firehouse. We took the total number of calls and we divided by the number of firehouses in a district. And the reason we did this is because if you look at Melville takes about 15,000 calls. But then when you divide it by their 7 firehouses, it kind of shows that the territory is much larger, and that kind of brings them down to the 5th busiest. If you look at Northeast Ambulance, they have 1 firehouse and they're doing 7,000 calls a year out of that firehouse. So they are 100% the most busiest. So you got your busiest fire protection districts. You've got Northeast Ambulance. You got Florissant Valley as number 2. They take about 12,000 calls total and about 3,000 per firehouse. And then you've got Creve Coeur as number 3. And then all the way down the list, you've got Robertson at number 18. So they're number 18. In other words, they are the 6th slowest fire protection district. Now, just a disclaimer here. This is not meant to diminish the hard work of the firemen at all. Being a EMS or a firefighter is very difficult. The only reason we are mentioning this is because it's to show the disconnect between the spending that Robertson is doing and how busy they actually are, like how busy they are actually responding to these calls. So Robertson Fire Protection District is on the slower side, and that could be due to their small population. But being the most expensive fire protection district also means they have the highest cost per resident too. And this is in this graph here, this is Bridgeton and Hazelwood's population together. But let's zoom in for a second. Let's just look at Hazelwood. Now, if you're looking at just Hazelwood's population, you can see here the majority of Hazelwood is actually serviced by the Hazelwood Fire Department. That's about 57%. Robertson is only serving 19% of the population. Even though their map looks really big, there's no one living in that area. So it's a very small population they're actually serving. Well, then when you look at what we're spending, so Robertson is still only 19%, and they're receiving about 40% of the city's total funding for fire and EMS. And then that's only what Hazelwood paid them. Bridgeton paid them $5 million during 2020 as well. So they had a total income of $10.6 million. That's close to Florissant Valley's entire $12 million budget. So, and it's double Hazelwood Fire Department. And all of this boils down to, even when you just look at Hazelwood's population, Robertson has the highest cost per resident at $821. Only 19% of the population, and yet so much higher than Florissant Valley and Hazelwood Fire Department. So I hear this all the time. Why didn't Hazelwood cancel Florissant Valley's contract? It's the same contract, right? Well, it's because Florissant Valley isn't sinking the city with its tax rate. So, there's no need to cancel the contract if we're not going bankrupt as a result of their tax rate. So I think the biggest question is, where's all this money going? So we looked at their internet cable services, their cell phone, fuel consumption, vehicle turnover, all the stuff that's usually used by all fire districts, cities, and fire departments. So first, looking at their cost of communications, you've got your internet, your cable, your landline, and your cell phone service all together. So we compared multiple years worth of data, 3 to 7 years. We got 9 fire districts, 1 city, and we divided the internet by the total number of buildings with internet, because internet is usually priced out by location. And then we also did the same thing for cell phones, because the more buildings you have, the more employees you have that need cell phones. So more cell phones equals more cell phone service, bigger bills. So what did we find? The average cost per building among all of these fire protection districts and the 1 city is about $10,000 per building for internet and cell service. Robertson is spending close to $30,000 per year per building. They got 2 fire stations. That means $60,000. Well, let's break it down. Okay. So let's just look at their internet and we'll just look at the cell. Maybe they have a lot of cell phones. I don't know. So we looked at the average cost of just the internet. And for all of these fire protection district in the city of Hazelwood, the average cost for just internet was about $7,000, $7,200 per building per year. Robertson is $17,000 per firehouse. So that's $10,000 over the average. What about their cell phone service? That's about average about $3,700 per building per year. Robertson is $11,700. Okay, well, what about their fuel consumption? So how much is it costing in gas to get to an emergency incident? So we took the total amount of fuel, the total fuel expenses in their financial statements, and we divided by the total number of calls. We looked at 4 years of data. With Pattonville, we only had 3, 7 fire protection districts and 1 fire department, Hazelwood Fire Department. So we found that the average fuel cost per incident for all these together is about $6.45. Robertson is $14.90. So, but then we thought, okay, well, wait. Maybe it's because Robertson sends a ambulance and a fire truck to each emergency call. That's their standard. You know, you look at Blackjack and Spanish Lake, they only have fire trucks. They don't even have ambulance services. So we decided to break it down into just one vehicle. What does it cost for one responding vehicle? So this accounts for sending 1 vehicle to an incident or sending 3. It doesn't matter. So we took the total fuel expenses and divided by the total number of vehicles that were involved in a response that year. We used the same data, the same people, and we found that the average cost per vehicle per call was about $4.53. Robertson is still almost double at $8.30. All right. Well, what about their vehicle and equipment turnover? So this is a huge expense for any fire protection district or any fire department. You've got your ambulances, your fire trucks, your SUVs for the chiefs. So what determines your vehicle turnover? How busy a district is or a department is. So the number of calls they take, the amount spent on the item. So are you getting a floor ambulance, like a floor model, or are you going to get a customized, like all out ambulance? And then how often does city council or a board wants to overturn equipment? So say you don't have a lot of money, you're not overturning stuff as much. If you have a bunch of money, well, maybe you want to buy more than maybe you need. So there are standards to this. These standards I pulled from Robertson's audit, where it says that their office and fire equipment is about every 5 to 10 years, vehicles every 5 to 15. We didn't look at buildings or improvements. We just stuck to mostly vehicles. So we sent sunshine requests asking for all equipment vehicles with mileage, VINs, etc. for the years of 2013 to 2021. We sent that to Hazelwood, Florissant Valley, and Robertson. We got Hazelwood's in about 3 business days. We got Florissant Valley's in about 7, but shout out to Florissant Valley. They're amazing. Sometimes they'll respond to a sunshine request within an hour. They've been very great to us. So we thank them. And then Robertson, we sent a request back on November 26th. We're still waiting for a complete list. We did get a list of current vehicles, but we were told they don't keep records of equipment or past vehicles. And a lot of the information we're going to show you, we actually got from other open records like tax bills and the Department of Revenue. So what did we learn? What did we learn from these sunshine requests? We learned the Hazelwood Fire Department, they keep their vehicles for as long as possible. SUVs about 10 years. We've got ambulances about 10 to 15, going, 160 to about 80,000 miles. They usually will trade in their old vehicles, and if they don't, they'll sell them at a public auction with employees not receiving priority. With Florissant Valley, we found pretty much the same thing. They have SUVs that they've kept 8 to 13 years. We just had more data with them. Ambulance is 10 years with over 180,000 miles at times. And then also, again, they sell all of their stuff, public auction. Employees do not receive priority. Robertson was a little different. So Robertson, they sell their SUVs every 3 to 6 years. Their ambulance 10 years with plus or minus 100,000 miles. And we discovered this internal bidding process where they sell to employees of the district only. They do not do public auctions. You are only, from what they told us, you are only allowed to buy if you're an employee of the Robertson Fire Protection District. Again, they claim that they do not keep any records of any vehicles sold. So this internal bidding system, it's pretty interesting. So we were able to get our hands on a few of Robertson's meeting minutes. We asked for, I believe, all of them from 2008 to current, and we're still waiting on that. But the ones we did get to look at, this is what we learned. So we learned who participates, what's being sold, and who's approving all these sales. So mostly the chiefs, the assistant chiefs, chief, the medical officer, and the fire marshal are participating in this internal bidding system. Also, Robertson friends and family, former chiefs, former board members. What's being sold? From the meeting minutes, we found iPads for $20, laptops for $80. We've got 3-year-old Acer Ultrabooks. Now these are really heavy duty, expensive laptops, $100. Industrial generators for $2,500. We've got a Plymouth system that I looked into it, and it says online that these are estimated to be $80,000 to $100,000 because they're custom made, sold for $1,500. Tahoes and Expeditions, like I said, 3 to 6 years old, and even ambulances. Now, we don't know the condition of any of these things. We don't know why they were sold. We don't know. This is why we need Robertson to comply with the Sunshine Law and provide us these meeting minutes so that we can figure this out. There could be a perfectly good explanation for everything. Well, who's approving all these sales? The board of directors. So, and again, like I said, this is the only what we know about. So let's hear a little bit more about these Tahoes and Expeditions that are being sold. So first, 2011 Ford Expedition. This was purchased in 2016 by a medical officer of the Robertson Fire Protection District. At the time, this vehicle was valued at $22,000, almost $23,000. It was sold for $6,000. Estimated loss to the taxpayer, or what I like to call the financial gain to the medical officer, $16,800. 2013 Chevrolet Tahoe. This one was purchased by former Chief Minor. At the time when this vehicle was sold to him, it was estimated to be worth about $35,000. It was sold for $10,000. Estimated loss to the taxpayers, $25,000. What about the 2016 Chevrolet Tahoe? This was purchased again by Chief Minor 4 years later in 2020. The estimated value of this car in 2016 was $34,000, sold for $7,500. Estimated loss to the taxpayer, $26,000. Total financial gain to Chief Minor, $51,000 in 4 years. So you're probably thinking, okay, well, they all do this, right? Like Hazelwood sells cars like this. Forest Valley probably sells cars like this. Well, we were in luck because we found that they all purchased the same 2008 Ford Expedition around 2008. So we can see exactly the difference between all of these three fire services and how they handle your tax money. So first, Hazelwood and Forest Valley, they bought the cheapest version, the XLT Sport Utility. Robertson went for the more expensive version, actually the most expensive, the Limited Sports Series. So Hazelwood sold theirs after 13 years with engine problems. Forest Valley, they held on to theirs for about 11 years. Robertson sold theirs after 5. Hazelwood and Forest Valley auctioned theirs off publicly to the highest bidder in 2021 and 2019. Robertson sold theirs to former Chief Tilley in 2013 for $10,000. The estimated value of this vehicle at the time was about $21,000. So this was an estimated financial gain to Chief Tilley of about $11,000. So there's a lot of information in this slide, but the number one thing that you need to know is that we found 6 vehicles sold to the Robertson administrative staff, 5 of those vehicles in just the past 4 years. Okay. So the estimated loss to the taxpayers in just this time was $110,000, or again, like I like to say, the estimated financial gain by the Robertson Fire Protection District administrative staff, about $110,000. Remember, this is just what we know about. All right, the ambulance. The ambulance, you might have read about this in the newspaper. A lot of people want to know what's with the ambulance, right? So in 2008, Robertson purchased this 2009 International 4300 LP. It was a state-of-the-art vehicle. Usually these vehicles cost between $200,000 and $250,000. We don't know what they actually paid for it, but it was brand new, and it was probably fell in around that price range. So in 2018, the Robertson Fire Protection Board, they declared it surplus and approved its sale. Who'd they sell it to? They sold it to Assistant Chief Howell. So it's your current chief now, but he was assistant chief in 2018. And they sold it to him for no more than $9,600. This is according to the fixed asset sale of fixed assets in their financial statements. According to the Carfax, this ambulance had no known problems and only had 44,000 miles on it. So it was barely used. Within 3 months after Assistant Chief Howell purchased this vehicle, it was exported to Mexico. Now, remember, the Robertson Fire Protection Board, they are the one approving all of these purchases, all of these sales. They are the ones who are selling your tax money, selling this stuff that's your tax money. So we want to know, why is this happening? So Section 72-418, that is what is requiring Hazelwood to be stuck in this contract that they cannot negotiate. And part of that, this Hazelwood contract may lead residents to feel as if these contract payments are not their tax dollars. Okay, but you have to remember, Hazelwood is paying Robertson with your tax money. This is your tax money. Do not forget that. Why is the board doing this? We don't know. We don't know why. But what we do know is that the Robertson Fire Protection Board is getting huge perks. Free cell phones with cell phone service, free iPads, about $800 a month in salary, and 100% free healthcare for themselves and their family. That's right, no premiums, no copays, no deductibles, etc. And their salary and their perks together are costing the taxpayers about $93,000 per year. And again, this is just what we know about. So what has the board done to fix this issue? Well, they've refused to lower their residential, commercial, or their personal property tax rate. Like I said, they did voluntarily roll back their agricultural tax rate, but that's it. They refused to negotiate the contract. They refused to change their spending behavior. All they've done is blame Hazelwood. Well, you know what? The city doesn't control Robertson's spending. They've tried to merge with Hazelwood Fire Department, but they refused to drop the contract, which fixes nothing. They tried to put the tax burden onto you with Prop R. Their job is to look out for the taxpayer, but are they looking out for us, the taxpayer, or are they looking out for Robertson Fire Protection District? So how do we fix this? Hazelwood cannot fix this. This is on us. We need to come together as a community. We need to get Robertson's spending under control. Options. We can recall the board of directors. This would be no new taxes. And you know what? Whoever we elect, they're going to lower this tax rate. Okay, we can discuss a merger. We can discuss Robertson taking over the Hazelwood Fire Department. This will cost you probably 10 to 20% more in taxes, because then not only is the Hazelwood Fire Department residents, but also the Robertson Fire Protection District residents, they're all going to have to pay a fire protection district. So this is going to cost more in taxes. We could discuss an intergovernmental deal. This would be Hazelwood taking over Robertson. This would be no new taxes. We could consider dissolving the district. That would also be no new taxes. And we can also call our lawmakers and demand that they fix the 72-418. This is the law that is keeping Hazelwood not able to negotiate this contract. This is the law that is bankrupting your city. Okay, so if you're upset by this, and I hope you are, you can get involved and you can help do something about this. You can join us. You can sign up to volunteer through our website, savehazelwood.org. We are having a community meeting next Tuesday. It's February 8th at 7 p.m. You can come and meet us there, and you can ask questions. It's open to residents of Bridgeton, residents of Hazelwood, and residents of the Robertson Fire Protection District. Come ask questions, come learn about, tell us what you want to do, how you want to fix the situation. It's going to be at the North County Community Church. You can also help us out and donate through our website, or you can send a check. All of these donations, they go to sunshine requests. They go to these future election campaigns and legal expenses. We do not take a dime. We have all put in our own money for this project. And we also intend that any money left over will all go to backstoppers. So even if we don't end up using your money to help push this forward, it will, at the end of the day, end up at a good cause. And backstoppers, if you don't know, is to help support families who have lost a firefighter, a police officer, or an EMS worker in the line of duty. So it's a great cause. You know, we have to stop with this Hazelwood versus Robertson thing. You know, I'm over the fight. I don't care. This is about our community. It's about keeping our community safe. It's about making sure all the people that work within Hazelwood are receiving fair pay. We have to start protecting our biggest asset, which is our home. You know, if the city goes bankrupt, your property value goes down. And then not only that, we need to stop paying so much in taxes. If we can fix this, maybe we can roll back the sales tax. Maybe we can roll back the property tax. But we have to stop spending all of our money on taxes. So thank you for hanging in there with me. But before I go, I just want to say, I want to thank the Hazelwood police, the firefighters, the Parks and Rec, the Public Works, etc. We know you've been working hard with less pay than you deserve due to this situation. And we want to thank you for hanging in there for us, the citizens. And I want to thank everyone for listening. You can follow us on Facebook or Twitter or at savehazelwood.org. Thank you very much.